So I need to be honest with you about something. Most people buy an ozone generator, plug it in, and either get a machine that barely does anything, or they accidentally turn their living room into a chemistry experiment. I have spent a ridiculous amount of time going through these machines, so you do not have to make that mistake. Whether you are dealing with cigarette smoke that has been marinating in your walls for years, a pet situation that no amount of Febreze is going to fix, or basement mold that keeps coming back like a bad sequel, there is a machine on this list that will solve it. Links are in the description. Let us get into it. The Basvac 840S caught my attention immediately because the numbers sound almost too good for what you pay. 45,000 milligrams of ozone per hour out of a unit that weighs less than 3 pounds. You can carry this thing in one hand and it covers 2,500 square feet. The ozone plate is rated for 35,000 hours, which means you will probably move houses before replacing anything. Now, here is where it gets interesting. This is the machine property flippers and landlords swear by. Those apartments where someone moved out and left behind a smell fused into the drywall, park this in one room, run it, move to the next, and by end of day the whole place smells like fresh construction. The timer maxes at 120 minutes with a hold function. For something like a car interior though, 10 to 15 minutes is all you need. Running 45,000 milligrams per hour in a sedan is like using a fire hose to water a houseplant. Technically effective, but you risk stressing rubber seals and plastics. Keep this aimed at big open spaces and it absolutely delivers. Okay, but here is the thing. Most people watching this probably do not need that kind of firepower. The Airtheral MA5000 takes a completely different approach with 5,000 milligrams per hour, and for the average homeowner, this is genuinely the sweet spot. Solid build, 2,000 square feet of coverage, and the controlled output means you can use it regularly without stressing about damaging anything. Let me paint you a picture. You run a short-term rental, a guest just checked out, and the place reeks despite your clear no-smoking policy. Bring in the MA5000, set it for 60 to 90 minutes, ventilate for a couple hours, and by the time your next guest arrives, everything smells perfectly clean. No chemical residue, no bleached fabrics. The timer dial can feel a tiny bit loose when hitting exact minutes, but the machine itself is a tank. 30 to 60 minutes for light odors, up to 2 hours for serious mold. If you plan on using an ozone generator more than a couple times a year, this is the one that will not accidentally ruin your carpets or dry out appliance seals. Now, what if I told you there is a machine that does gentle daily air purification while you are still in the room and also unleashes 50,000 milligrams per hour when you need the heavy stuff? The Ozone Life commercial generator pulls that off with a dual mode system that honestly feels like cheating. Selectable output at 25,000 or 50,000 milligrams per hour. Coverage beyond 10,000 square feet. The ozone mode works like any high-powered generator. Clear the room and let it rip. But the independent light function runs a softer purification cycle safe for occupied spaces. Property managers can flip it on during routine cleaning and switch to beast mode between tenants when serious work is needed. That is 10 times the Airtheral with the ability to scale down on demand. The 180-minute timer outlasts most competitors too. Just a heads up, if you keep fish, relocate the tank before running ozone mode because the gas dissolves into water fast and aquatic life does not handle it well. Alright, everything so far uses corona discharge, electricity splitting oxygen and ambient air to make ozone. Works great, but there is a catch nobody talks about. When humidity is high, that process also splits nitrogen molecules, creating nitrogen oxides and traces of nitric acid. In a flooded basement, that is a real issue. Enter the Odors OS 4500 UV. 4 ceramic plates paired with ultraviolet light at 185 nanometers, which creates ozone without ever touching nitrogen. 0 harmful byproducts. The UV also shreds pathogen DNA, so bacteria and mold cannot reproduce. Professional restoration teams reach for this after floods and fires because nothing else works as cleanly in wet environments. The variable dial goes from 250 to 3,000 milligrams per hour with a 300 CFM blower, forcing ozone deep into wall cavities and ductwork. I know 3,000 sounds tiny next to machines boasting 50,000, but that comparison misses the point entirely. This produces cleaner, more stable ozone that does its job without leaving chemical damage behind. Premium price, yes, but professionals know why it is worth it. So what about raw power in a portable package? The Odors pushes 65,000 milligrams per hour out of a 3.8-pound aluminum shell with 3 ceramic plates, covers up to 6,000 square feet, and has this clever cycle mode that pulses ozone every 30 minutes, letting the gas soak deep into porous materials like drywall and subflooring before hitting them with another wave. Picture a 4,000 square foot commercial basement that has been absorbing cooking smells and chemical odors for years. You set the Odors on cycle, close the door, come back 2 hours later, done. No second pass needed. Compared to the BASVAC, you are getting roughly 45% more output in a similarly light package, which shows up big in larger spaces. My favorite detail on this machine, though, is the shutdown sequence. 5 minutes before the timer ends, the ozone plates cut out, but the fan stays on full blast, actively breaking down residual gas in the room. That means your wait time before safely going back in is noticeably shorter than machines that just kill all power and leave a thick cloud of ozone sitting there. Smart engineering that actually matters in practice. We need to talk about the Odors NM009D because this thing exists on a different planet. 180,000 milligrams per hour. That is 36 times the Ethereal. Digital touch controls, a 24-hour programmable timer, and a 2600 RPM fan that floods 100 square feet in about 7 minutes. A 5-second delayed start lets you press go and walk out calmly instead of sprinting for the door. This is not a home machine. This is for commercial gyms, warehouses, agricultural facilities. The advantage is micro-treatments, accomplishing in 10 to 15 minutes what a smaller machine needs 4 hours to do, saving electricity and cutting downtime dramatically. It leaves a subtle clean scent that takes extra ventilation to clear, and you need to calculate your re-entry window carefully with this much ozone. But if you have been running a 5,000 milligram unit for hours in a giant space and still smelling problems, this ends the conversation. Let me close with what I honestly think might be the smartest pick on this list for a lot of people. The Odors OS 3500 UV is the more accessible version of the OS 4500, 3 ceramic plates with the same UV technology that eliminates nitrogen oxide byproducts. Output dials from 150 to 1800 milligrams per hour, 110 cubic feet per minute fan, 3,500 square feet of coverage, 5-year parts and labor warranty. For any space under 3,500 square feet, you get the same clean UV-assisted ozone as the flagship at a much friendlier price. Detailers love it because dialing down to 150 milligrams lets you sanitize a car cabin with surgical precision. No dried leather, no cracked plastics. The UV bulb needs swapping about every 2 years, and the plates clean easily through a clever access panel. If every product were designed this thoughtfully, I would run out of things to talk about on this channel. So here is my honest take. Homeowner who needs something dependable for occasional odors? Ethereal MA 5000, no-brainer. Managing rentals and need flexibility? Ozone Life handles daily maintenance and shock treatments in one machine. Detailers who care about precision, the Odors OS 3500 UV gives you total control. Restoration pros dealing with water, fire, and mold go straight to the Odors OS 4500 UV because nothing performs as well in humid conditions. Massive commercial space? The Odors brings the automation and power. True industrial scale? The Odors is unmatched, and the BASVAC 840S is an outstanding high-output option at a budget entry point for property flippers and landlords. Links are in the description. Questions about which fits your situation? Drop them in the comments and hit subscribe for more.